But I can't tell you how many economics students have told me when I meet them casually at a party or at a friend's, and I find out they're studying economics, and I say, what do you think of your professor? And sometimes it's, tragically about someone in my department. If I meet a student who's not in my class or in my class but taking other classes, and I'll say, what do you think of that professor? And I say, well, he really knows his stuff, but he has trouble communicating it. And that's always, to me, a red flag that the person either doesn't know their stuff or they're trying to dumb down their graduate level theoretical training to an undergraduate level that it just isn't very effective. And so I think a lot of people come to hate their economics classes because either because they're really hard because they weren't prepared for the math, or they're really easy. They're good at math and it's a breeze for them. It's low-level math. So for them, for math students, technical STEM type students, engineering majors, it's relatively easy and they don't get much out of it. And I think that's the tragedy. My classes, I never used calculus when I taught undergraduates. It just, I think, misses what we are capable of delivering, which is the insights into how the world works. So to go back to your question, I think my answer would be that a lot of students aren't paying for the knowledge. They're paying for the piece of paper. This is what Brian Kaplan's answer would be. Brian, we've had Brian on to talk about economics as signaling, education as signaling, and he makes the very telling point that when class is canceled, professor has an emergency, can't make the class, and they just, in college you just cancel it. They don't send a substitute. They just get one less class. Sometimes you make it up, but if you don't make it up, no one gets. Often people don't get mad. They don't say like, well, wait a minute.
They're going to get the same diploma.
Yeah, I paid for. In fact, the best situation would be you just cancel all the classes, and you get an A. And a lot of people, given that choice, if no one knew that's what actually happened, might be happy about that. But that's not proof that it's signaling. It's a suggestive. It's not. It's an interesting hypothesis. But that would be my answer in general for why college education is so poorly performed relative to the price, which is education is only part of what you're paying for. You're paying for the chance to mingle with other people. You're paying for a signal that you're smart, that you have proof of that, you have a credible piece of paper to prove that. But you could argue that if you're going to get that, you could learn something along the way, couldn't you? So
why not? Yeah, you're there.
But I think so. Part of it, I think, is your answer is correct, which is I don't think people know, either the parents or the students, what a great class in many disciplines might be. And I used to say when I taught economics, it should change the way you look at the world. It should give you a lens. So that's what we want to try to do today. Any other preliminaries before we get started?
No, let's go.
Okay, so I wanted to start with a simple question. Again, some of these questions we'll talked about last time, but I want to try to go maybe a little bit deeper. And along the way, we'll try to come up with some other examples that are analogous. So I want to start with an easy one, a seemingly easy one. And just as one more piece of introduction to the listening audience, if you try to answer these, you might want to put the episode on pause and think about them as we mention them. And I have one piece of advice for those of you out there listening trying to answer these problems. If your first thought is something you could have come up with without taking an economics class, it's probably not the answer we're looking for. It may be right. There may be some fact about the world that is central that and that you think is descriptive of the answer, helps find the answer, but usually that requires some knowledge of economics. So my first question is, why is old wine